You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
Well, a very pleasant good evening. Time for Startup Talk from Indian River State College. Worldwide on Alexa, Echo, and Google Home. Here's Tom Kindred.
Thank you, sir, and welcome to another segment and installment of Startup Talk, the show designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. As I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We will spend time during our hour together this evening to highlight and create awareness regarding the very powerful and robust business assistance programs available right here in our community at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred, and I serve the community as the Regional Director for the Florida Small Business Development Center at Indian River State College. Our show today, as always, is powered by the Florida SBDC at IRSC and the great folks at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. So, Greg, how are you this evening?
Doing well.
All right. Things are off and running with Pioneer Sports now, I guess. We had our big kickoff the other night with ladies volleyball.
Very impressive.
Had the blue and gold game.
They posted some stuff on Facebook. Yeah, they're going to have a good club.
That's right. We had we had guest coaches. We had Dr. Massey was coaching up the blue team, and Frank Watkins, the Dean of Student Affairs, was coaching the gold team.
So did Ed choke again?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think he's been on I think he's had a couple of down years, but he came through big time. The other evening. They won the blue team won big, so he did well. So it really is an impressive group of young ladies. I don't know, I'm not a volleyball expert, but I did spend about 6 years watching my daughter play. So if it matters, that's my expertise level. So.
There you go. And Charlie rounded out his roster with the opening of school, and I think we're gonna have another good club.
Yeah, what's kind of nice too is that opening game the other evening for volleyball. All the coaches were there. Charlie was there. The new baseball coach was there. The baseball team, the men's basketball team, everyone was there in the gym, and it was a good time. I mean, a lot going on, a lot of people, a lot of fun. So,
boy, you talk about pedigree as your new baseball coach.
Oh, I know.
Frank Torrey, his father,
right.
Joe Torrey's brother, was a great baseball player in his own right, and and now IRSC.
Of course, our good friend Bob O'Brien, the former member of the national champion.
Oh, the old guy.
The old guy, the former member of the national champion Miami Hurricane baseball team. Of course, he's gotten me all up to speed on the legacy of the Tories, anyway, it's going to be interesting.
Well, what a good get by IRSC, no doubt.
Yeah. Want to make sure that we start the hour and talk just quickly about another round of our what we call the BAP program, the Business Accelerator Program. We are launching and deploying another round of this down in Martin County with the support of Martin County and the City of Stewart. The City of Stewart has really been a big supporter of this program the last couple of years, and we've put a lot of small business owners and operators through the BAP program. But it's going to start on September the 11th. And again, the Accelerator Program provides business counseling, technical assistance, and training for small business owners and the opportunity to obtain potentially some grant funding for their small business growth. The purpose of this Accelerator Program is to enhance entrepreneurial skills and activities, create jobs, and assist in the expansion and growth of the business community. Again, one of our primary partners in this program is Tim Dewar and his team at the Martin County BDB, the Business Development Board. Tim has done a great job with this program. But anyway, it is an excellent opportunity for a small business owner. I know it's tough. I know after a long day of working in your small business, it's tough. You want to go home. You want to escape it. But it's 10 evenings of some training in business areas, and it really has been a very successful and popular program down in Martin County for us.
Yeah, you packed the house the last 2 years.
Yep, it's been nice. So, got some great guests tonight. I really can't wait and look forward to getting to our our headliner this evening, Mitchell Slater. Mitchell is a nice young man who entrepreneur in his own right, started his own business, but he's going to talk to us an awful lot about social media for the small business owner and SEO and SEM and you know, I'm not going to reveal.
Can't say that on the radio.
I know. I'm going to let him explain all that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Mitchell.
Glad to be here.
But I want to start tonight with my very good friend, the only person that's more enthusiastic about business than I am, and that is Miss Caleta Scott from the city of Fort Pierce. And Caleta is telling you, I love every minute of working with Caleta. She is moving a mile a minute.
You're embarrassing her.
I know. I can't keep up with Caleta. But it's been a lot of fun so far. And Caleta is really heading up very unique program, and she's got a very unique event that she's got coming up. So I wanted Caleta to come on first this evening, and let's talk real quickly about what's coming up. So Caleta, just start us off with a little background on you, kind of your pathway to the current position. You serve as the Lincoln Park Revitalization Coordinator with the city of Fort Pierce.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Well, I was born in Fort Pierce, and my parents got married and moved to Miami. So I wasn't raised here, but I did come to Fort Pierce every summer and every holiday, and it was my getaway from the big city in Miami. So I'm so fond.
It still is a getaway from the big city.
Exactly.
We're hearing a lot of that.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, after I went to college in Gainesville at the University of Florida, go Gators.
Go Gators.
And I had a full career in Atlanta, and my daughter graduated from high school in 2013, and I was wondering what I was going to do with myself, and I thought Fort Pierce and the beach was the perfect place to come. So I decided.
You and Mitchell have a lot in common.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll find more about that.
Well,
but yeah,
we're glad you made your way back to Fort Pierce.
Me too. It's paradise, and I love it. So I wanted to help the community, and I thought the best way to do that was to look for a job at the city of Fort Pierce, and I had a great opportunity to work in the city clerk's office and work with Mayor Hudson and the city commissioners, and learn all about businesses starting in Fort Pierce.
Nice. So a little overview of the purpose and mission of this Lincoln Park Revitalization Program.
Well, Allegheny Franciscan Ministries, I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that organization, but they're here to invest a lot of money in our Lincoln Park community, and they felt that this position with the city of Fort Pierce was integral into the success of their being here. So they tasked the city to create this position, and it is partially grant funded, so thank you, Allegheny. But the goal of my role is to focus many efforts on Lincoln Park, and that is to help coordinate the revitalization efforts and activities that happen there and try to get that network of the small community that we are.
All right.
Yes.
Now you've got kind of a business event coming up that's kind of focused on the Lincoln Park area, a very exciting event. Talk about the event coming up.
Yes, we're really excited. On Friday, September 7th at the Percy Peak Gymnasium and the IRSC Blackburn Building at 2902 Avenue D, we're going to have the Lincoln Park Business Expo, and this is our first annual expo. The reason we created this expo a little different than what we've done in the past and other expos in the community is I wanted the Lincoln Park community to realize how strong we can be. And there's lots of businesses that are opening. Since I started at the city, I noticed in the clerk's office so many people coming in to start small businesses, working from home, entrepreneurs. And I just thought, wow, how awesome this city is. How strong are these people to keep pushing forward? And I thought, wouldn't it be great to create an event where we could help enrich them and give them information, and also create an atmosphere of support so that everyone in the community knows who's here? Because I found that a lot of people didn't know who was here, didn't know what businesses were going on.
There's a lot of newcomers.
There's a lot of people like me coming back. So I thought it was great to have an opportunity to give them a space to network as well as to learn more about the offerings in Fort Pierce.
So kind of give us a feel for the day's agenda and the list of activities that you're going to have going on.
Yes, the day's going to start at 11 a.m. and we'll have a welcome and kickoff with the city manager. Mayor Hudson's probably going to be there. The SBDC will be there.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Tom. Also, The Economic Development Council of St. Lucie County will be there. IRSC is playing a big part. Dr. Nicholas Brown is going to be a part of the welcome and opening. So from 11 to 12, we'll have that meet and greet session. At noon, we're going to have a keynote speaker in Dr. David Washington. There may be some people who are familiar with him.
Oh, sure.
Very strong. I love Dr. David Washington. I learned that he was a classmate of my mom's, and that made it even more special. And I think that's the key of Lincoln Park, is that we have a very strong history, and we are still very strong.
Yes.
So at noon, he's going to do that. We're going to have a nice lunch catered by Jam Bar Wings.
Yeah. Now you're talking.
Yeah, and again, there we are supporting small business right in Lincoln Park. So we'll have the lunch and keynote at 1 o'clock. We're going to have 6 or 7 breakout sessions that go from 1 o'clock to 3:30. People are encouraged to come anytime. I'm not discouraging anyone. Please come on that day. We'll get you registered and signed up. At 4 o'clock, we're going to have, from 4 o'clock to 6, we'll have a pop-up community shop. I want those same businesses that came in to get that education to have an opportunity to sell some of their goods and to let the community know what they have to offer. So it's going to be a nice little networking hour. We'll have prizes to give away and raffles and things like that. And the businesses that are participating will be giving some of their offerings as well.
Nice.
And we could sell air. Oh.
I'll be hanging out for the Jam Bar Wings.
Yes.
Oh,
it's gonna
yeah,
be great.
you and me
That's
both.
right.
Yes.
Talk about sponsors. I know you've got some folks sponsoring this event.
Yes. Well, the Small Business Development Council is a major part of it, so thank you very much. IRSC, of course. Allegheny Franciscan Ministries, outside of just being the reason that I'm here, they've also contributed because they think this is a top-notch event. So I thank them very much, as well as IRSC.
How does one get more information or potentially get involved as a business, and where do they go to find all that information?
Well, they can go to the City of Fort Pierce website, or they can contact me, Caleta Scott, at the City of Fort Pierce. My phone number is 467-3168. That is my direct line. You can leave a message, or you can shoot me an email at cscott@city-ftpierce.com.
Okay. And then one more time, dates and times it all gets underway?
Yes, the first annual Lincoln Park Business Expo will be Friday, September 7th from 11 o'clock to 6 p.m. I hope to see you there.
Great. And you're actually you kind of talked about you're gonna recognize some success stories and some successful business. We don't want to give away the surprise, but you are going to recognize a few businesses.
Yes, we've got some strong businesses that have been around for a long time and growing, and we want to recognize that.
All right. So going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. We will be there. The SBDC is certainly very supportive of what you're doing, and we're there to help you with the event. So I think we have 1 or 2 of your breakout sessions.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to it. Caleta, you've done a great job over there, and I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed working with you and feeling your enthusiasm and being part of that and getting a little bit of that enthusiastic rubbing off on me. So it's I love it. So
I can't wait till Lincoln Park Theater is open.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That is going to be awesome.
It's going to be really awesome, and we're working right now to get some partnerships so we can get some funding to get that open. But yes, it's going to be phenomenal.
Well, let us know here at the radio station. We'll get the word out.
Thank you.
Caleta, we appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you on September the 7th.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Okay, and it's all going to be at the
Percy Peak.
Blackburn.
Yep, the Percy Peak and the
Gym
Blackburn. Yes.
Okay. Right there on Avenue D.
Yes.
Okay. Caleta, thank you so much for taking time out and come informing us about what's going on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good evening.
You too.
So with that, a lot going on in the city of Fort Pierce in terms of business, and I'm looking forward to Caleta's event on September the 7th. She is going to recognize some success stories that are happening up in the Lincoln Park Business District, and there is a lot going on. And I've enjoyed working with Caleta. She's got some great ideas.
She has a ball of energy, and
the Allegheny Franciscan Ministry is
great.
They're doing some great work up there. So anyway, it's going to be a good time to be up there and a good time to see what's going on. So we appreciate her work, and everybody stay tuned for September the 7th. So
I'm there for the wings.
I'm there for the wings. I'll go anywhere for the wings. All right, I want to reintroduce Mitchell Slater to Startup Talk this evening. Again, welcome, Mitchell.
Thank you. So glad to be here. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, guys.
Yes. You mean this isn't one of those long, drawn-out 2-hour presentations that you have now?
It's going to be exciting and really quick.
Well, it can't be too quick now. We got a little time to fill, Mitchell. So, but Mitchell, you've got a great story. I mean, you not only do you have a story about what you do, but you have a story about being an entrepreneur. You started your business. I think we talked at age 17. So, kind of give us a little background of how you got into this whole social media and SEO type business, and give us a little bit of that background and pathway to where you got to today.
Definitely. Well, got my start at 17 years old. I always wanted to start my own business. So I was like, gosh, what can I start? So I ended up falling on advertising because I could do it from home. I was homeschooled my whole life. I got an awesome mom. I'm one of 4 boys, so she homeschooled all of us. And I had a lot of time at home, so I was like, I can start a business. And so I started it from my bedroom. And right in the little town of Wasilla, Alaska, about 7,000 people.
Wait a minute, back up. We've heard of that town. Oh.
You might be familiar with that city. It's Sarah Palin's hometown and
Nice.
where she's from. And it's a little town with a lot of awesome people. And that's where I got my start. And I actually started by doing a little booklet. I found a guy on Craigslist to do graphic design for me. And I went around door to door in Wasilla selling ads as a 17-year-old and filled this book, got it printed, distributed it out, and I was so proud of myself. That first month, I made a profit of $30. I was pretty disappointed, though, and I did it for another 2 months and ended up making, I think, a total of about $80, $90 profit, and I was like, wow, I'm doing something wrong, or this is not for me. And so I ended up going digital, long story short, and fell on my company, Slater Strategies, and now everything I do is digital marketing for companies. So we go in and we help them with their listings, reviews, social media.
Boy, he's in the right place. Oh,
Absolutely.
he can help us.
Wow. So you did actually. You told me you were kind of born in Florida, so you're somewhat of a native, but you left as a young person and moved to Alaska.
I guess I'm a boomerang Floridian. I guess you could say.
Boomerang Floridian.
I was born in Ocala and moved to Alaska when I was a little kid. Been there for the last 14 years, and then my wife and I just moved to Port St. Lucie December 1st. So not even a year we've been here, but we love it. Love the beach. Can't swim in the Alaska waters very often, so it's really nice to have warm water here. It's pretty chilly.
All right. So you start this business, and your business is Slater Strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does Slater Strategies do? What are you involved in?
So we go in and we help companies with their online presence. So a lot of times companies are so busy running their day-to-day stuff, whether it's managing employees, figuring out what to sell next, all these different things. So we go in and we say, hey, we'll manage those online listings for you, your Google, your Bing, your Yelp. And then they're like, okay, awesome. We got all these reviews. What do we do with them? So we go in and we manage online reputations for companies. So when we reply to reviews on Facebook and Google for them, and then social media. Usually businesses really have a hard time with that one, being consistent on social media. So we will go in as the company and manage all their social media profiles on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and just take over that so they don't have to worry about it anymore.
Okay, so let's kind of start with the whole, let's define some of these things. So give me a little definition of social media, and then define that SEO and that SEM.
Sure.
What is it all about?
So social media is, I would like to say, it's like people can have personal pages on social media where you can have a representation of yourself or your company on something that's separate from a website. So every business should have one, in my opinion, at least a Facebook profile, and it's for people to be able to get comfortable with you. And so the best way I describe it to people is when you go to a networking group, you get to know people, you have coffee with them, you shake their hands, they get to know you, they get comfortable with you, and that's really what social media is for. It's for people to get to know you as a company, what you stand for, what you're about, and they get more comfortable with you, and then you should point them to your website, which will really, in the end, do the actual selling after they've gotten comfortable with you with the social media. And then going into the SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, is what the work that goes into a website to help it rank higher in the rankings. So if you were looking for, a pizza place in Fort Pierce, say Pizza Place Fort Pierce, and the website pops up, there's SEO work that went into that website to help it rank higher in the search engine for Google, so you can find it and go eat the pizza there. And then SEM, search engine marketing, SEO is part of SEM.
Right.
Search engine marketing is more the paying Google for actual advertising, which can get extremely expensive, extremely fast. But those, in a nutshell, is what all three of those are.
Now, of course, we, in our incubation program at the college and through some of the work at the Florida Small Business Development Center, we do work with startups. So talk to us kind of the steps. If you're going to start a business or kind of maybe launch a different, segment of your business or kind of grow your business, and you're going to now get involved in all this social media. I mean, all this SEO and SEM, I mean, these tactics really need to be kind of baked into the website and your whole social media strategy. Is that not a fair statement?
Definitely. It needs to be thought out.
Right. So this all becomes part of that startup strategy. This isn't something you go build your webpage and then a year from now you think about SEO. Right?
Yeah, you're going to have a hard time. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So it's best for a business when they're starting kind of down this pathway of either getting involved in social media or again, updating social media. That's really when all this needs to be done, and they need to have that strategy, and it's people like you that can help them build that strategy.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll sit down, we'll get a coffee or on a Skype call, and we'll talk them through it, because everything's digital, so I can work with anybody no matter where they are.
And you really need to have the same message on all platforms, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so your website, it should all complement each other very nicely. It should all talk. If you had a radio ad, a TV ad, social media, everything should be talking to each other. It should look the same. You shouldn't have a different brand picture, a logo, like different color. Everything should look the same. You're building that brand awareness, which social media is super, super good for.
Now, there's always been this issue of keywords. You always hear that when people talk about their website. Keywords. Talk about that. Define keywords, and why is that important in all this social media?
Sure. So what I tell people with Google is all about the user experience. They want the person that is searching to have the best experience possible, and it goes into the keywords. So if I was to Google for, I'll just say a pizza place.
Like top radio shows or something.
Top radio shows. Well, hopefully you guys are number one at the top of that one, I would assume. If not, you give me a call.
Right.
I'll help you out.
I'm calling you, yeah.
Yeah, just leave your card.
Yeah, okay, I will. But so keywords go into that. So if I was to Google for, pizza place Fort Pierce, the keywords that that's a keyword, by the way, is, pizza Fort Pierce is a keyword that you would want to rank for if you were a pizza place in Fort Pierce. So now that goes into your website. And so Google's really big on content. I always tell clients content is king. So you want good quality content on your website, but you can't just let's say you have awesome pizza place in New York and you just love their website. It's the most beautiful website you've ever seen, and you're like, I love that. I'm going to copy everything that they did and put it on my website down here, and nobody will ever know. Well, maybe no person will ever know, but Google will find that out, and they actually penalize you dramatically for it. So make sure that your content is good quality and made for your business, so you haven't copied somebody else's, or it's just going to be a disaster in the long run for you. But you want to focus on those keywords. So when you're writing an article, you're writing your content, make sure you have the word pizza and Fort Pierce and awesome, because your pizza is awesome, it's delicious.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And again, folks like you help businesses identify these keywords. Is that kind of a
Correct.
part of also what you do?
Totally. We'll sit down with them and we'll go over what, for them, we'll ask them what's the best keyword for them, what's something that you want people to, if they Google this keyword, you want your business to show up for that keyword, and they'll give us those.
There's also ways to research keywords, are there not? You can go in and do kind of a research, so you kind of know what words are getting searched on a regular basis.
Sure. You can Google, it's called Google Trends is one of the best ways to look, and you can see what is trending for specific words that are coming up. So obviously when there's, got all the political stuff coming on right now, you got those are going to come up higher on Google Trends, like different politicians' names will be popping up. So that's part of a trend. And obviously as soon as the election's over, that won't be in the Google Trends anymore, because nobody's Googling for that word. So you can see, what are people Googling? Is there a specific phrase they're Googling when they're trying to find a chiropractor or a family physician? Then I want to rank for that keyword, because that's what people are searching for.
Now, the web page. That's, everybody, when you think of social media, or at least a little bit in my generation, you kind of think of the web page as being the whole strategy. There's so many more pieces. The web page is the web page kind of the mothership in all of this, and then everything else kind of spins off the web page?
That's a great example. Yes.
Look at there. That's right.
You're a natural.
Tom, you should get into marketing. Oh.
No more radio for you.
Right,
You're done.
that's right. So the web page is kind of the base camp here, and then everything kind of spins off the web page. So how does that web page connect to the other pieces of your social media strategy?
Sure. So I tell clients first and foremost, your online listings are one of the things that's going to get everything connected. So your online listings would be your Google, your Bing, Yelp, yellowpages.com, all these listing sites. There's hundreds and hundreds of them. And the more you're on, the better, because that's how people are going to find you. So if I'm Googling, I'll just use pizza place again, or Chick-fil-A, because I love Chick-fil-A. And you're Googling for this pizza place. You want to make sure that people are going to find that listing. They're going to see your hours of operation. You have your website link in there, photos, your reviews, all of that goes into play. So that's all going to point them to your website. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then talk about, because I always, one of the things that I hear when we teach these social media classes through the Corporate and Community Training Institute at the college, there's always that element of blogging. Talk about why blogging is so important.
That's a great question, man. Okay, so you've probably noticed before, you go to these websites, you go, why does this company have a blog? That is so weird. Like, who's going to read this blog? Nobody cares about this pizza place or whatever it is. So blogging is really awesome because Google reads every single website that's out on the internet. So I tell people, their clients, that Google's got these Google bots, is kind of what I call them, and they're searching these websites and they're looking for good quality content, and so they're crawling all these websites. And so what you want is, when you're writing this blog, yes, it would be great if other people were reading it, but you really want Google to read it. So blogging is really good because, like I said earlier, content is king. So you want Google to pick up on these keywords that you're putting in this blog. So if you were a chiropractor here in the area, you would want to write about, if you had this pain, this is what you should look for. And you should come in and see me if this is what's happening. You want to educate the consumer with a blog, so you're giving back to the community. So they're like, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. If I ever have that injury or that problem, I'm going to go in and see them. So for instance, like a chiropractor could go, have you ever had that? The blog could be titled, have you ever had that pinch in your back where it really, really hurt? And that could be the blog title. So now let's say somebody Googles and they're in Fort Pierce and they're like, I have a pinch in my back and it really hurts. That the possibility of that blog popping up for somebody to read is pretty high because they're in that area. And now they're going to click on that guy's website, read the blog, and go, wow, this guy knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to go see this chiropractor. And so now you just educated the consumer.
So then what does Google do with that?
They put it up in front of that person so they can click on it. Is that what you mean?
Well, you mentioned that Google will kind of follow blogs.
They crawl it. Yeah, they crawl the information because they're trying to find the best possible thing to show in front of the person's eyes. And so if it matches all those keywords that person just Googled and what are in that blog, they're going to go, I bet you this will be perfect for that person that's Googling for this phrase, and they will show that person that blog.
So is that what elevates them on the whole system?
It's part of it. There's a whole bunch of parts that go into
yeah,
it.
I'm
that
sure
is one.
of that.
That is one of them. Yes,
Yeah.
That's why blogging is really important. But it's all about consistency as well. So I tell clients, if you can, once a month would be a really good blog post. 4 times a month, so once a week would be really, really good. But you want to do consistency. You can't just go, I'm going to do it once and do it another month and then go, it's not working, because it doesn't work like that. It's
right.
It's got to be consistent. It's got to be for months on end.
Now, explain to me, because there's this concept that I've always heard about websites. So business builds a beautiful, they spend good money, they build a beautiful, well-designed, graphically appealing website. I mean, is it true that if you don't continue to update that website with fresh content like blogs, does it kind of lose its luster with Google? Do they kind of, is that a true statement?
Yes, it is. And it all depends on what your competitors are doing as well. So like I said, all about the user experience. So if you're constantly updating your website, let's say you even go in and you change the word the to or whatever, Google sees that as a change. Like, you changed your website, you did something on it, and that is something that's going to, not saying you're going to be number one because you did that, but Google's going to go, wow, this person's changed stuff on their website every day. This other competitor hasn't touched their website in a couple years, so this person's probably more relevant than this other person. So that's why it is very important that you're constantly updating it with new information.
So like if you had let's say you had a photo section on your website and you were constantly updating those photos, does Google recognize that as updates?
That's perfect. Yeah, just make sure your photos aren't too big so it slows down your site, because Google will penalize sites for a lot of things. One of the biggest right now is if it's not mobile friendly, which is if you look it up on your phone and you have to put your fingers down and open it all up to see what you're talking about.
Right.
Google will penalize you for that. So if anybody's listening, you have not a mobile friendly website, you need to get that fixed pronto. And then obviously if it's slow, you want it to be loading very quickly, not just because Google obviously penalizes you if it's not fast, but people don't like slow sites. We're in a world right now where we want it to be immediate gratification. So make sure your website's loading fast. So make those photos small.
So now the blog, going back to the blog for a second, the blog is also considered new content. So like you said, if you did even a blog once a month, then Google recognizes that as new content, right?
Correct.
And is it true that blog and when you do your blog, Google likes list? Is that true? Like the top 10 reasons to come to this chiropractor, or the top 5 reasons you should use this type of product. Is that true that they like the list?
They like it when it's simple and that something that the user is going to like. But not only that, the user likes those things too. I think in our minds we like going, 5 things. And if I really want, I can look over the 5 points really quick and go, is this worth my time? Okay, it is pretty cool. I'll read it. So it is good when you're able to put those points in there.
Well, I do notice too, even on Facebook when you're kind of going through, there always is our list, the top 10 things to do to increase business, and so it kind of does always come out in list. What talk about the effectiveness of the pay per click, the PPC as we call it. How does that work for a business when you're trying to? I guess it's like if you're selling something on the internet.
Sure. So pay per click is extremely beneficial, but it can be extremely expensive. Just to give you an example, we were managing a client's Google ad spend last summer, and they were spending $5,000 a month just on Google. So that wasn't including what we charged to manage it for them, but $5,000 a month. And so some of those keywords that they were going for were $18 a click is what they were getting charged for. So if somebody saw their ad, they clicked on it, they were getting charged $15 to $18 for that click. And that's not even guaranteeing that person's going to buy from you. So it added up extremely, extremely fast. And what I told them is you should put that money into ranking better organically so you don't have to pay for that. So a quick stat with the Google ads is 70% of the time they're not even clicked on. People go to the organic search results. Right. So if you're familiar with a Google, when you Google something, there's 3 different areas. The top part is ads, which obviously people are paying for those. The second part will be the local maps if you're looking for something locally. And then the third one will be the organic search results. So 70% of the time people are skipping the ads, which my wife and I do this all the time. I never click on ads because I'm always afraid of what they're trying to sell me.
Ouch.
What is that? And I go down to the organic because I know that they worked hard to get there, and they're not going to be probably as spammy. And so you can pay for the Google ad spend, and you're going to get clicks. You're going to get visits to your website, most definitely. It's going to cost a lot, but in the end, it's really actually better to be there organically because people skip over it. They don't want to click on those ads.
And is it true the best place to hide something that you never want anyone to see is on the second page of a Google search?
Man, you're a genius. You're so right. Yes.
I don't know that I've ever clicked on the second page of a Google search.
How about the 30th page?
Yeah.
That's better than the second. No, I'm just kidding.
Talk about, I hear, you hear all the time in this this area of social media. What's a click-through? What does that mean?
Sure. So let's say you do an ad campaign with Google, and let's say 100 people saw it, and you had a 5% click-through rate, which is very, very good. If you had a 5% click-through rate, that means 5 people clicked on your ad and went through to your website or your landing page, whatever it is. The average the people actually say is pretty good. The average is about 1%. 0.5% to 1% is a good click-through rate, or a good click-through rate is 5%, which is really hard to get. So I don't know how good.
So you're saying that a really good click-through rate is 5%?
Yeah. I mean, if you really good's 100. I mean, if you really want to get specific.
Sure. But the average, a good average for click-through is 5%. So that's really all a business can expect is somewhere between 2.5% and 5% click-through.
It all depends on what you're offering. Obviously, some of these if a restaurant's doing something for a coupon, those are going to have higher click-through rates than a medical provider or a lawyer, most likely, because we love food. Most people love food, so we're going to click through.
Now, what kind of discounts are you talking about that would lure people to
free pizza or free Chick-fil-A? I mean, why? I would click on a free.
Guy's really into food.
If it was, I mean, come on. If it was a free Chick-fil-A ad, would you not click on the free Chick-fil-A ad, guys? Come on.
Yes, we probably would, especially now in Fort Pierce with our new Chick-fil-A.
Brand new one.
Hey,
That's right. So really managing the website is, I'm old school. I'm old school sales guy. So we used to always tell our salespeople, you're going to have to call on 10 people to get one to be interested in buying. So, I mean, is a website kind of the same way? You've really got to draw, 100 people in to get one to kind of say, I'm interested. Is that how a website really kind of works? Like a salesman?
Yeah, it is. It's your digital, your digital sales guy is that
Right.
website. You want to draw people to it to sell, but your website has to have good quality content so people actually want to buy. You don't want to have to be too wordy where people get overwhelmed and immediately click back, and then you just lost that person to your competitor. So yes, you're right.
What's the importance of online listings? Being the Yelp. I mean, is that play a big role in all this?
Yeah. So Google, like I said earlier, Google ranks businesses on so many different levels, and so one of them is how many places you show up online. So if you, let's say you're on 100 listing sites, because there's hundreds and hundreds of them out there and they're free to be on. If you're on 100 and your competitor's on 10, Google goes, wow, this company's on 100 sites, like they're seen way more online than the competitor who has 10. So that's one of the big ways that Google will rank you. There's so many, but that's one of them. And
you mentioned, which I think has become a big part of all this reputation management. How do online reviews work, and why is that so important to a business?
Man, I'm glad you asked, because that's my favorite one to talk about. So online reviews are extremely, extremely important, and they're continuing to gain importance. So Google reviews, Facebook reviews, Yelp, those are all extremely important that you should be encouraging your customers, your clients, to go to your Google listing, your Facebook, to leave you a review. And so when you get them, obviously you want a 4 or 5 star because that's considered good. When you get them, you have to reply. Even if it's a bad review, you always want to reply. And so here's the cool tip that most people aren't doing, and they don't know to do this. So when you get a 1, 2, or 3 star review, which is considered a bad review, I'm sorry you got those, but you got them. It's all right. You always want to reply, and you always want to point it away from the review site. So you never want to go, you're a liar. I am not that bad. You don't know what you're talking about. That would be horrible, because now they're going to comment back, and then you have this little review war. So what you want to say is always apologize, and you want to point them away from the review site by giving them a number of the manager, or please call us. We'd like to solve this, because the next person that goes and sees that review, they're going to go, oh, wow, that company, there was a bad customer had a bad experience, but they took care of it. Whether you did or not, because most of the time that person's not going to call, the next person that sees that review sees that you took care of that problem. So now when you get those good reviews, which are awesome, the 4s and 5s, you always want to reply to those and put your business name in that reply. So Google crawls all that information, and you want them to pick up on, if I was Chick-fil-A, if I had this Chick-fil-A listing, and I'm like, thank you so much, we really love your business here at Chick-fil-A. And so Google's going to pick up on that information over and over again, and you want Google to see the good reviews and not see so much the bad reviews. But you can't delete them, unfortunately, so you just want to kind of bury them.
When you create this social media strategy for a business, should you be encouraging the reviews? Should you motivate customers? If you'll give us a review, you'll get a discount the next time. I mean, is it important enough to kind of put into place some sort of strategy to motivate customers to give you a review?
Definitely. I think there's a good way to do that. You don't want to say, if you leave me a good review,
right,
I will give you $10 off, because then you get into some shady stuff where Google doesn't like that and doesn't promote that. So, but you could say, I have some clients that'll say, we'll give you, like a plumber will say, I'll give you $10 off a service if you leave us a review. And they'll just say it like that, because
right,
they're not promoting the good ones. So I think it is that valuable, because if I'm a consumer and I'm Google, like for instance, my wife and I just moved here. So we looked for a lot of different services when we got here. So let's say I was looking for a plumber, and I Google plumber Port St. Lucie or plumber Fort Pierce. I'm going to look at all these listings that pop up on maps and go, oh, this one has 100 reviews. This one has 10. I'm probably going to go with the guy with 100 that has a better rating than the guy with 10. So like, people are just making their decision based on those reviews, and they're doing it really, really quickly. So
now there's always, of course, rattle off all the. Go ahead and just kind of give us your list of all these social media channels. I mean, what's available out there for a business to be engaged in? Start with the website, and then what else is out there?
Okay, website. All right, and the major one, you can start with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Instagram. You got Tumblr, which is a blogging platform. Those are the main core ones. There's hundreds of others. If you Google up-and-coming social media sites, you're going to be just inundated with all these sites that they say are up and coming, which I don't know if they really ever will be that big. But Facebook and Instagram are definitely the biggest, because Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion about like 5 years ago or so. So they're the powerhouse duo.
So is Instagram now surpassing Facebook?
No. So the usership is still way higher on Facebook. Facebook still got, I believe it's 2 billion users, active users, and Instagram, I think, is right under 1 billion still.
Now, again, when we teach this in an academic area like the college, we teach social media, that we sort of teach clients that they've really got to decide, how many of these platforms they're going to use. Because is it, unless you're some big company and you've got a whole floor of people doing nothing but, dedicated to social media strategy and maintenance. I mean, for a small business owner, is it kind of fair to say you've really got to kind of pick your channels, and maybe you got to pick 3 of those?
Sure.
You just can't do all of them.
If you're trying to manage it yourself, it's a huge time commitment to be able to do it on your own. And so when we'll sit down with clients and we'll go over which one is best for their company, because there are different ones that are going to be better for them. So Facebook in and of itself is the number one. Everybody should have a presence on Facebook. So Instagram is really popular with the 18 to 35-year-old age group. So you want to make sure, like, if that's your target market is these young adults, you want to make sure you have a presence on Instagram, because that's where they are, and you want to go to where they are. And then if you have the time, everybody really should have a professional LinkedIn profile for their personal self. Check that out. It's obviously free to just have a little profile on there and connect with people in the area, and you can build your business up that way too.
And talk about the difference between your personal Facebook and a business. Can a business have a Facebook site?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have to have the personal before you can have the business?
Yes.
Okay.
So every business page on Facebook has users that are the personal Facebook users. Nobody knows who's on those. Like the consumers that are looking at your business profile, they don't know who's the manager of that page, but it has to be managed by somebody with a personal Facebook. So I know a lot of business owners, they'll go, well, I want a business page, but I don't want to have Facebook for myself. Well, you don't have to actively be on it personally,
right,
but you do have to have a personal page, or we'll make it for clients, and then we'll manage it. We manage everything for them. So technically they don't have to, but I want to make sure they have access to their page.
Right. And talk about, go back one step and talk about the time commitment. So let's say they don't have a Slater Strategies that they're working with at the time. I mean, what is the expectation for a small business owner? What should he really expect to have to spend to really support this social media strategy?
Sure. So I tell people, if you can set aside some time on a Sunday night or a Monday morning and say, I'm going to set aside 2 or 3 hours to go, this is my social planning hour, and you come up with all your post ideas. Maybe you Google a competitor or somebody in the same industry that's in another state, kind of get ideas of what they've used, what they've posted, and you're like, oh, I like that. And then you come up with similar posts and you plan them out with the Facebook calendar, because you can plan everything out in Facebook for years to come. You can write all your posts out and get it done right then and there in that morning before your phone's ringing, people are knocking on the door. You do it when you're having your cup of coffee in the morning. You plan everything out for the week or maybe even the month. So then you don't have to worry about it, because you really want to be consistent on social media.
Well, talk about that. Talk about the whole scheduling aspect, because I understand there are now apps or tools that one could use to schedule post, and then they would automatically post based on your schedule. So that's got to be huge now for the small business owner to use those kind of tools.
Definitely. So if you were just wanting to be just on Facebook, you can do it all through Facebook directly. But if you were wanting to have a profile on Twitter and LinkedIn and Google Plus and all these other social channels, there's softwares. There's, like, we offer one to clients that they can use, or there's Hootsuite you can pay for to use, where you can post to all of them at the same time with one post. So you don't have to go separately to all of them, which will obviously is a ton of time. You can do it all at one.
And that's called Hootsuite.
Hootsuite is one of them.
And you're able to literally schedule all that you want to run.
You got it.
Okay. Now talk about there's probably still some existing businesses out there that maybe have never gotten engaged in social media. Again, maybe they've just got a web page. I mean, where are we in this social media? Facebook's been taking kind of a beating. But is it still? I mean, is this still got to be part of what a business does? Have they got to now become engaged if they never have? I mean,
I definitely think it is. And if people been like, man, I haven't had one ever, I think you can start today. You can start tomorrow. It's never never too late, I guess I'd say. But, because 5-10 years ago when people had social media profiles, it was super beneficial because not everybody had them business-wise. Now in 2018, like every business almost has a Facebook profile, which is great. People are able to engage and connect with you, and that they kind of expect it. Because now if you hear an ad on the radio, they see a TV ad, they're going to Google you, and then they're going to, let's go see their profile. Let's go see their Facebook. What are they posting about? Oh, they had this special on their Chick-fil-A sandwich, whatever.
And talk a minute about Twitter itself. I mean, is that should a business kind of be engaged in Twitter, sending out messages that here's what's going on at the business, here's what's new? Is that a way to get updates out to the business community?
It is. I still think Facebook's the number one. Twitter is kind of taken a beating as well the last few years. A lot of top executives have left in the last 4 or 5 years, and their stock prices have gone down. So Twitter's never going to go away, I don't think.
That's because of stupid tweets, though, right?
Tweets they get annoying, and you can only post 160 characters on it, so it has to be short. But it's like I said, I don't think it's ever going to go away. So they don't have as many users as Facebook and Instagram do. So I always tell clients, if you're gonna pick one, please pick Facebook before any of them, and then add on the others based on who your target market is.
Okay. How, before we run out of time, I don't want to run out of time without asking the question. Talk again a little bit about your business. I mean, how would somebody contact you? What do you do exactly for the business? How would it all start? How would they get engaged with you? What might be the first step with somebody that's in your type of business?
Sure. Starts with a conversation. They can always call me. My number is the Alaska area code. You guys ready for this? 907.
Oh, cool.
The whole state of Alaska has one area code, just to put you in perspective of that state. So 907, and then my number is 907-315-6993. And they can always email me. I'm on my email most of the time. So Mitchell, Mitchell, at slaterstrategies.com, and I spell my last name Slater.
And do you kind of you'd start a business by kind of what their goals are? I mean, what are they trying to achieve? Is that how you would kind of start their strategy?
Exactly. Yeah, because every business is different. If I'm trying to manage a restaurant or a medical provider, that's completely different markets and completely different businesses. So your approach is going to be entirely different because it's a different target market. So we sit down. Some of the stuff never changes. Listings and reviews are kind of across the board. You need to have your listings managed and be on sites, and you need to have reviews and consistent reviews coming in, because those are extremely important.
What are your thoughts on all these websites that allow? I think it's Wix is one of them, or where a person builds their own website. I mean, how does all that play into this? I mean, is that a smart move for a business to build their own? Or you think they might leave out some of these important parts and pieces of keywords and the research? What do you think about that?
Some of those sites are amazing, and I tell clients if it's a budget thing, if they don't have a few $1,000s to put into paying for somebody to do their website, but they have the time, then yes, definitely put it into going there. There's Wix, Weebly. I really like Squarespace.com if you guys ever want to check them out. They're just really awesome templates. But yeah, it's all about a time thing. If a business is like, I have the money, I just do not have the time, then they don't need to be trying to do it themselves, because time is money for them. And so they can just pay somebody. The person's going to do it way faster and get them up and going and make sure there's no mistakes.
And what about the graphic appeal of a website? Is that important? I mean, sure, there's a lot to do with function, but don't you want to draw people in? I mean, you got to have a little flair for the graphic to build your own website. Is that
definitely? Yeah, you want it to good photos. If it's a restaurant, you want to have professional photos taken of what you've been able to put on a plate, so people can really put their eyes with it. Because that's how our minds work. We buy on what we see. We're like, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful Chick-fil-A sandwich or whatever.
Right.
It is.
We're visual.
Yeah,
sure.
So again, new business. How do they get started? What's the first step? Call somebody like you? Is that what they?
I would love to talk to them and walk them through the steps and see if we can help them. But they need to get a website, get a Facebook made, and at least get a Google listing so people can find them when they're trying to put it on their Google map and see some reviews. So get those reviews going in.
All right. I guess in closing, I can't help but ask you this. You're a young person, and so kind of give us what's your advice for that aspiring entrepreneur out there who wants to start their own business? What would you tell them?
don't wait, and then go to and never stop learning. So like when I first started, I went to the Small Business Development Center in Alaska, which is where I took classes as a 15, 16
Maybe
year
I can
old.
get a job in that center.
There
I
you
like
go.
that.
They're all over, and I just started learning and reading articles online, and I jumped right into it. But if you keep waiting, you'll never do it. So I just go ahead and start it. It's a great time to start a business. Technology is right at your fingertips to do anything you want. So just go for it.
Yep. Well, good advice. That we heard that from Dr. Jerry Parrish, chief economist with the Florida Chamber. He said it's a great time to open a small business.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mitchell, we appreciate all that advice on social media. And with that, we will bring to close another segment of Startup Talk. I want to thank our guests this evening, Caleta Scott and Mitchell Slater, and remind everyone that all the business assistance programs and resources discussed on this segment are available through the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurial Development Institute at Indian River State College. So with that, Greg, as
Gotta
always,
get Mitchell's Alaska phone number again.
907.
907. You got it.
907.
907-315-6993.
There you go. As
Cool.
always, thank Greg and our partners here at WPSL, WSTU, and WPSL TV. And with that, we'll talk to you next Thursday on Startup Talk.
You've been listening to Startup Talk right here on WPSL, Port St. Lucie, WPSL.com, WPSL TV on YouTube, and WSTU, Stewart.